And remember, kids, the next time that somebody tells you the government wouldn't do that, oh yes they would.
I can promise that you're not going to see another video like this by a One Piece content creator, because I checked. No one has talked about it, and I've sprinkled it into some of my videos, but I think all of us One Piece fans have been completely horrified by what we've seen happening in the world, right in front of our eyes, helpless to help. Ever since I learned about this open-air prison and the horrors committed against them, I somehow found myself wishing that Nika was real, that One Piece was real. And so many of the most devastating things that I've seen in One Piece are just right here in front of my eyes. It's supposed to be so horrifying, so horrible, that it can only exist in this fictional story about pirates. But that'd be a regular story. This is One Piece. It cuts deeper. It cuts to more of what is the essence of humanity, good and bad, and how we are liberated from that. So no One Piece content creators have ever talked about this, and we're having God Valley happening in the anime right now, and it is just so eerily, horrifyingly similar to what is happening in real life that I can't not talk about it. I was supposed to be editing a video about Skypiea right now, but I have to talk about this because things are dire, and we can't just hope for things to get better. We have to escape the game. We have to open our eyes to understanding what is actually happening, what the world truly is, and start immediately working on changing things. Living your life in a way that change is actually possible. An unimaginable amount of people are being systematically starved. Children, babies, are the most horrifying victims in this sense, but it's happening to everybody in there. In the God Valley incident, the Celestial Dragons, this is all talking about real life, by the way. I'm not talking about anything that isn't actually happening in real life. The Celestial Dragons allow the people, what they call rabbits, run around this kind of roomy cage so that it becomes a game. It's more fun for them if you're not just sitting there back against the wall. They want you to fight back because you're powerless. They have all the power. If they fight back, they feel justified to bring down the hammer. If they give you no food so you starve, they say it wasn't me. The leaders of my country, like the leaders that stay back in Marijois, wipe their hands of the whole thing because, yeah, I gave them the weapons, I gave them the power, I told them they could do it, but it wasn't me, it was them. I just said it was okay. And so they wipe their hands with it. But we have to stop those days. What allows Celestial Dragons to do what they do is that we let them have the power that they say they have. They talk like it will always be that way, but things like that are never always. But the God Valley incident is real. When we read or watched the O'Hara incident, emotionally felt them, and then moved on into this beautiful I want to live moment. But when I was rereading the God Valley incident, and when I was watching Kuma's flashback, I couldn't stop thinking about the dehumanization that we hear in our real world, the ethnic cleansing in our real world, the genocide in our real world. And so I want to go over the God Valley incident and draw some parallels to real life. This is important shit. As we all know right now, the world is watching a live streamed God Valley incident. The most powerful in real life and in One Piece, the world government labels people to dehumanize them, because if they successfully dehumanize people, then they aren't considered to hold humanity and thus not be worth saving. Like Kuma, for example, he was born into a slave caste, and every single person in this open-air prison was born there too, with no power of self-determination, and surely they seek freedom every moment of their life. They seek food, just like we've seen people seek food in Wano, just like we see Jenny and Kuma eating after saving people from the God Valley incident. They need their needs met so that they can actually seek their liberation. I'm a parent of 2 kids, and I personally cannot imagine the horror. How do you show them how to have hope? How do you show them how to live every single day? Because even in dire circumstances, parents love their children. They want them to have a better life than they have, and they have to believe that. And how do you keep believing that a better day will come someday? It's something that I can't answer, but the strength of the people that are surviving in this open air prison touches a lot of the themes that we see in One Piece that we don't have to experience in one life. So after Kuma loses both his parents, like many children in this open air prison had lost even before the genocide started, they grow up, they keep going, they keep living. And like Kuma, one day they find themselves trapped and being hunted for game. It's considered a sport. For us, the God Valley incident is essentially live streamed on TikTok and X and YouTube. It's obvious to anybody watching that the celestial dragons, the people in the real world, they want to eliminate every single last person that's trapped in this cage. And of course, like in One Piece, Oda does a good job of drawing that it is not just pure evil. I mean, that's part of it. There's like a sick pleasure for the people of the society to carry out this manhunt. But the true reason is that they want to wipe out everybody there so that they can take natural resources, so that they can take energy, so that they can take land. Because that's what people want to do. They want the land. They want the resources. Because if you talk out in the God Valley incident or in real life, the full brunt of the system will lash back at you to the highest degree it feels like it can get away with. What is the last thing that Ivankov says to Kuma, says to the slaves that want to revolt to escape this cruel reality? I choose life. That is what it means to be human. Now remember, we're talking about the God Valley incident. The celestial dragons are the people with the power, and even before the quote-unquote rabbit hunt begins, we see people crying about their murdered children. Who knows what lie the celestial dragons spin about this stuff? They probably say something like, oh, the children just died because the people use them as human shields. That's a message I've heard a lot over the past year and some change from some cynical psychos. And like in real life, God Valley is completely surrounded by the dominant military force in the world. Nothing leaves or goes into there without the explicit permission from that incredibly powerful military that enables the most powerful people to genocide the most powerless people. And Ivankov said that every single person on this island will be killed if they don't escape. And the people that run our shit, they're letting this happen. They want it to happen. This is the reason why I can never forgive the Marines. This is the reason why I can never forgive the world government. Their systems are sick, perverse, and gross. And before Kuma manages to steal devil fruit and save a massive number of slaves that are about to be genocided, Kuma runs into Saint Saturn, one of the highest authorities in the world, an architect of this horrible, horrible thing that's happening to these prisoned people. And Kuma, who I think everybody here loves, sincerely loves. And here's what Kuma says to Saturn. It doesn't make any sense that you're born important. It doesn't make any sense for someone to be born a slave. And Kuma says that he wants to save people. He wants to liberate people from this horrible fate. And let's ask ourselves, does it make any sense for people to be born into an open-air prison? Does it make any sense for the people right next to them to dehumanize, hate them, kill them? And then the question starts to arise in both One Piece and in real life. The people that have lost their humanity are the people that are executing this atrocity. They've dehumanized themselves, and that's why everything that they're doing ultimately will never ever lead them to their salvation. They'll never truly be happy. And I don't feel bad for them, but there's no sense to this. But it's happening anyways. Ivankov says, don't hope for it to be okay. We need to escape the game altogether. And in my video about Luffy, I say that Luffy will destroy the world. And that is meant a little bit metaphorically because the world, through its physical structure and the power structure that is developed around it, is unnatural. It's wrong. They need to escape the game altogether. there cannot be an open-air prison that people are born into. There cannot be an ethno-supremacist society that kills people for sport, to take their resources, to strip them of what it means to be a human. And just like the people in real life who want to put an end to everybody that's been born into this prison, man, woman, child, or baby, like Saturn says, the fact that they're trying to live, the fact that they're trying to fight back at all, is why they want to make these people vanish for good. And like in God Valley, like in real life, our news doesn't tell the real story. They're beholden to the power structure that carried out this genocide out of their own sense of trying to keep existing in the system. I think it's wrong, but the amount of times that I've seen the New York Times, a paper I once dreamed of working for. I have a degree in English literature and journalism, and I've come to realize, before this even, but it's been super doubled down from what I've been seeing in the real world, is the New York Times and other quote-unquote reputable news sources just straight up writing propaganda, using bad faith arguments, propping up the oppressors in this system as justified actors. It's disgusting. Degrading yourself, debasing yourself to perpetuate the power structure that is genociding people. And while I hope for the children in this horrible situation to see better days, to be able to eat their fill, to be able to laugh and cry and have fun, and to pursue their dreams, I don't know if it'll come. And it definitely won't for many of them. But as soon as we stop doing what we're doing to these people, the people that are left to live matter. The amount of pain and devastation that happened on God Valley, that happens in real life, it's enough that it makes it pretty difficult to sleep sometimes at night. Even for me, when I'm so far away from the actual atrocity. Obviously, we can't save everybody at this point. The game has begun. But like what Kuma manages to do on God Valley, embodying Nika, every single person that lives has endless potential of a possible future. Just as deserving as my life, as my son's life, as my daughter's life, as my wife's life, as my neighbor's life. Everybody deserves to live. Everybody deserves to seek liberation. Everybody should be allowed to eat as much as they want. If you somehow didn't know much about this, what are you doing? But I'm sorry that you had to find out this way, I guess, but this is important shit. How would you feel about anybody who supports the celestial dragon rabbit hunt that happens on God Valley? How would you feel if somebody supported that? That's happening in real life, and you should be asking yourself these same questions about what is happening in real life, in the real world today, because that's what One Piece is. It's about life. That is how powerful these forces are that don't want us to think about the people of God Valley. That's how powerful these forces are that maintain the celestial dragons, that maintain the power structure of our real world. And we should be asking ourselves, does this structure have any humanity? Should this be possible to happen? I don't know what to do, but I can't accept doing nothing. I can't accept not trying anything. I don't know what I want the results of this to be, but my hope for you is to walk away and know what is happening in the world. And if you feel like you don't know, please go out and try to genuinely learn. Don't ask an AI. Think critically about the information that you bring into your head. Speak up for the powerless as much as you possibly can. And never, ever let them forget what they're doing, what they did, because they showed it to us proudly. They haven't hid it. The world government is real. The celestial dragons are real. And I can't say what justice is for this situation, but the people with power in this world should definitely not be the people with power in this world. That is the most sure thing I've said this entire time. I'll see you soon with a funner Skypea video. Love you all for watching. Thank you.